In Eve, the only thing worth more than ISK is trust. This October 4th in Amsterdam, Eve is real.
Wow, I'm CCP Rice, and that ad was incredible. We are about to watch Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork against Coven, and I'm here with Bach and Alien. Bach, what's on the field?
Well, the Coven team has brought a triple EOS setup, Oneros, triple Vexer, 2 Ishkers, Malediction carries, Maulus. Seems like no matter how many drone boats you ban, we can find more. And they are facing a triple EOS Proteus, double Vexer Navy, Hyena, which I don't think we've seen many of, Maulus, and Punisher. So what are your thoughts on this match?
I mean, like you said, kind of drones everywhere is pretty standard by now, I guess. The Coven team brought helos last week, and they got them banned out by Footwork, so they've just kind of made an adjustment, but stuck with the same kind of more like traditional core setup, whereas Footwork has this more tinkery setup. I don't really get it, actually. The Proteus is Logi, right? And they'll just kind of hover around him and let the drones do work, but I'm not sure how that'll go. I guess it did well for him last week, even though the setup has changed just a little bit by adding a little more of this support and having one less Navy Vexer. But we're underway now, and so we'll see, I guess.
It's definitely an interesting choice. When you add in smaller ships, you always run the risk of them getting volleyed. So that's always with a tinker type setup. If you're relying on not losing a ship, that's a big risk. We do see drones going both ways across the field. I see geckos, augmented hammerheads. The Hyena immediately stripped of its shields into armor there. Proteus will start having to do some work right now to talk about that volley.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, like you say, it's adds a lot of vulnerability to these like short-handed tinker type setups to add this little support, and it looks like it's going to hurt them right away by losing that Hyena. Although he's recovered a bunch of his armor, he's actually tanking, pulling back almost all of it already. That's pretty awesome. In the meantime, they do have the Coven Oneros webbed. He's still moving really fast for now, probably drifting through that web, speeding up to like 1800, even though he was webbed just a second ago, and not taking any significant damage.
Whoa, and he is gone. He just, wow.
Ooh, that has to be Boundary.
That had to be Boundary. Yeah, they're about 100 and something out there. In fact, that Ishker is 118 right now.
It looks like, wow, I didn't even see that, but it looks like the Oneros was just burning away from these geckos and infiltrators as fast as he could, kind of in a straight line out of the arena, and just ran out of room. Whoops.
That is going to hurt them for sure. I mean, not only does it give a lot of points right up front, but having no lodging after the rest of the fight. That Vexer immediately into armor now. Meanwhile, Storm and Bloodfeather's Proteus is actually struggling there. He's taking a fair bit of armor damage at half armor. We'll see if they can crack him. They might have a shot here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's actually a huge victory for Footwork to have them give up on the Hyena and have to switch targets. It's always a good sign for the Tinker to not lose anything at the very start of the match when the other team has the most kind of on the field in terms of DPS. And it looks like the Proteus is struggling a little bit, but hanging in there for now, hovering about half armor. And he's, of course, getting a lot of repair bot action from the other ships on the Footwork team and cap transfer as well. So he's doing just fine, and they have killed a Vexer on the Coven team. But
I think it's fair to say that there's going to need to be a miracle to come back from this now for the Coven team. Really, Ministry of Inappropriate Footworks, they're sitting pretty. They're facing less DPS with every ship that explodes. That Vexer that goes down takes quite a bit of DPS off the field. The second Vexer is low armor, and we're going to see him go next, and I presume they'll probably start picking off EOSs after that. Really, at this point, the Proteus should have no more trouble tanking, I don't believe.
It hurts so bad for them to have lost that Oneros due to the boundary violation. I mean, you can see the Footwork DPS isn't all that high, and it's taking them a little bit to chew through these Vexers. With the Logi there, it might have been, way more time they had to figure out how to attack the Tinker by either killing drones or getting in closer to put, new pressure or something. But now they just don't have time, and this Proteus is tanking more and more easily as they lose DPS.
Yeah, certainly. I think you're right. They did have a very good chance with the Oneros on the field, but they could get in there and brawl even if necessary. But against this now, they just can't. There is a Punisher Agumon on the Ministry team that is going into structure. Doesn't seem to be in range for reps, so there is going to be some blood drawn by the Coven team. It looks like here he's into structure again now.
Yeah, that Punisher acting as tackle, I believe. You can see he's out in the middle of the Coven team, probably running out there to catch Vexers and slow them down for that fleet of drones, but that of course puts him too far away from the Logi and he goes down, but that's not a huge loss really at all, and it probably won't make any difference whatsoever.
So one incredible thing to point out that you probably can sort of see on the UI there is how little structure that hyena actually survived with. Hovering over the target, giving the little tooltip there shows him with 2% structure. On a hyena, that's only got to be single-digit points. That's really incredible.
And another ship down Ishkur this time for the Coven team. And yeah, I wonder how much difference that makes, having they didn't really need the webs from the hyena to kill that Oneros. I mean, he had to, run away as fast as he could, but that means he was under enough pressure even without the webs that they were able to apply damage. I wonder if they kill the support, if they kill the hyena and the Punisher early in the match, if things had gone a little bit better, if that makes any difference at all, really. Probably some, or Footwork wouldn't be bringing those ships, I guess, but...
Right, you'd imagine the Oneros wouldn't have been so hard-pressed to run away as much as he was if there wasn't as much support tackling him. The Proteus is taking a significant damage there. I wonder if he burned out a repper, or...
Yeah, that's interesting. He
was just maybe trolling a little bit.
Yeah, bringing it all back really quickly. There's still a lot of damage on the field for Coven, of course. I mean, 3 Eoses, Ishkur, and a Vexor is not insignificant, but he was able to tank it no problem when they had, 3 other ships, so he should be just fine unless, like you said, he makes a big mistake, burning out some hardeners or reps, but he shouldn't even need to use heat at this point, so it'd be pretty weird for him to make a mistake like that. Of course, yesterday we saw, Logi accidentally go into reload for 60 seconds. That can happen if he's running an AAR, but I wouldn't expect anything like that to happen. In the meantime, Vexor going down for Coven, leaving them with just the 3 Eoses, and we've crossed halfway mark for the match. The Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork damage does seem pretty low. Even with that hyena there to web stuff, it's taking them quite a while to chew through these ships.
Yeah, and it's remarkable how slow they are chewing through. Even just a Vexor there should have died a lot faster to 3 Eoses, but I guess he was kiting the drones out. You can see all these augmented, kind of an odd mix of drones there. Gecko's Infiltrator 2s, I see some augmented. It's kind of a grab bag of drones that seem to be coming back in.
Yeah, it is interesting. They've mixed them with a lot of these armor maintenance bots. The Eoses are actually running a lot of heavy armor maintenance bots. So the actual amount of bandwidth left for DPS is pretty low while they have those rep bots out, and they're just leaving those out. I mean, at this point, either one would probably work. But yeah, the sort of DPS fleet, like you said, is mixed, and it's also fairly small. I mean, we really only see maybe 15 drones chasing their primary. So and with some of them being lights, so it's really not that much damage. But of course, with logistics off the field, it doesn't really matter.
One interesting to point out that we were seeing used in this tournament that really have been kind of a laughingstock in the past have been those the stasis webifier drones. I've seen them several times today, including in this match right now. We have some SW300s on the field, and I can remember a couple tournaments back. I don't remember which team it was. Someone was using them and absolutely were ridiculed for it. So it's interesting to see that's changing the new meta as things develop. That Eos very slowly taking damage. He's at about 1/3 armor. Maulus, actually, on the kick team, is about to bleed into structure now. I wonder if the Proteus is asleep at the wheel or if the Maulus has got himself a little bit out of range.
Yeah, webbed and scrammed as well. He's probably going to go down. But again, no big impact there. Damps at this point not really doing anything all that important. Keeping the carries, maybe be a little closer to them or something, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, the web drones are really interesting. They maybe are pretty obvious development for the meta where everybody's kiting all the time. I mean, with these drone setups, one of the big advantages is not having to get close to your opponents. And, if you really need to keep your whole team away from everything and depend on range for survival, tackling gets more complicated. And web drones are kind of a cheap way to handle it. I mean, other options would be like using recons or Lokis or something like that, but they're costing you so many points. And web drones, you can kind of thread in there with all of your damage and probably pays off pretty nicely in some situations.
Yeah, I think the fact that they are stacking penalized and the kind of does play into the reason they're not used more. But as far as just slowing something down a little bit, it's not bad to throw 1 or 2 out there for sure. So we have some more damage coming across various ships down to 2 Eos now. Ishkur at half armor, Maulus at half armor. The Hyena was getting pecked at for a while, but he's doing all right again.
Yeah, he is tackled again. So try for him one more time, but. At this point, basically just waiting for that clock. We're at just under 2 minutes to go, and I don't think that Footwork will be able to finish off this entire Coven team, but they will definitely be winning this match. You said those augmented drones were getting used, and it was actually Coven team using them. There's augmented Berserkers and Hammerheads all over, right around where the Footwork team is sitting. Footwork actually just going for Tech 2. There's a couple augmented hammerheads there, but mostly going for just Tech 2 and geckos.
Yeah, like I said, it's an odd mix. There's just all sorts of different kinds of drones out there. Like everybody's running something different. But
EOS into structure, gonna lose him for sure. And looks like they've got one of the frigs tackled as well.
yeah, Malediction taking some significant damage now. I'm guessing that's him. Yeah, that hyena, it's like a friend of mine did the math for me. Namamai sent me a message saying that the hyena's got to be at about 6 hit points of structure.
Nice.
So there goes the mollusk there that just vanished. So
Good job by that Logi Pilot. Show two examples in this match of how important like Logi Pilot skill is. Getting reps on that hyena in time to keep him alive by just a couple hit points, and on the other side, Logi Pilot getting a little overwhelmed and flying straight out of the arena. It's not an easy job.
Absolutely, and honestly, not boundary violating is it's actually harder than people might think when you're being run down in something that needs not to be tackled, and you're just trying to get away as fast as you possibly can. You know, on TQ, you just hit your MWD and go. Malediction explodes there, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
tournament arena. You don't have that option.
Right, it's a limitation you never have on TQ. I mean, range is really important, but it's always range relative to other ships, or sometimes to a gate or something like that. But an invisible wall that kills you instantly is something that doesn't exist anywhere else. So adjusting to that, definitely not easy. And we are at time now. So with that, Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork takes another match with a Tinker setup off of Coven. Well played, and we'll be back in a few.
Eve, the only thing worth more than ISK is trust. This October 4th in Amsterdam, Eve, Israel.
All right. Hello again, everyone. I'm CCP Rise here with Bacchanalian, and we have coming up should be one of the best matches of the day, one of the most gambled on matches of the day, I'm sure. Pandemic Legion versus Shadow Cartel, and looks like it's going to be a good one. What have they brought back?
Well, both teams here have warped in at 50 from rather oblique angles, so they're actually probably a good 75, 80 kilometers from one another. The Shadow Cartel team is coming with a double EOS, double Celestis, double Ishtar, Vexor Navy setup with double Frigate Logi, 2 Inquisitors, and then 3 Heretics as anti-support. Meanwhile, Pandemic Legions come in with a single EOS, triple Gila, 2 Vexor Navies, 2 Vexors, also running Frigate support with 2 Bursts and 2 Worms.
Yeah, so both of these teams choosing that Frigate Logistics, which Shadow Cartel did last week. Pandemic Legion last week, of course, brought the Rattlesnake setup, so they've switched things up a lot. And this should be pretty fast. A lot of damage on both sides. Like you said, the big difference between these teams is the Celestises. Shadow Cartel going for a little more EOR support. And as we get started, you can see Damps just hit the entire PL team immediately, which is good news for Shadow Cartel. But a lot of damage on that PL side, and a lot of it doesn't care about the Damps because of coming in the form of drones. So let's see how things go as those drones get to their targets, which is happening right about now.
I'm curious to see how the support war is going to go, because those Heretics really will trash frigates, but Worms are not they're certainly scary ships as well. So we'll see how those Frigate Logistics hold up. We have a Gila into shields, and EOS stripped of its shields, the Celestis of Wildbagger on the Shadow Cartel team into armor a little bit there. But really, Lordana Cameron's Gila is really struggling. It's taking an awful lot of damage there.
Yeah, PL way behind right now, it looks like. He is getting reps now onto that Gila and starting to recover shields a little bit now that the Logi's gotten there, but Shadow Cartel, well, they were looking really comfortable. Now that EOS up top of Spur Zone is actually starting to take more armor damage. Gila's taking damage too. This is really close right now.
Yeah, the Gila's about to bleed into armor. If that Gila goes into armor, it's going to go down awfully quickly given how much damage is put on it. Celestis doesn't seem to be taking a whole heck of a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the EOS seems to be tanking his, so it's really is going to come down to which one of these things breaks first. And that Gila looks like his shields are completely gone, like 1% shield remaining at the moment.
One of the really big changes this tournament is the move towards a lot more medium drones and heavy drones instead of the Sentry focus that we saw more of in the last tournament. And what that means is the damage is a lot more sporadic. This Gila on the PL side has been running away this whole time, and wow,
bounce violation from both bursts.
Oh,
both
man.
Pandemic Legion Logistics just boundary violated. I was about to call that out. I saw that happen right as it happened.
Crazy.
EOS of Spur Zone is into very low armor, almost into structure, but that Gila just absolutely melted out from under it as well. So Lordana Cameron's going to go down just after Spur Zone, and we have a match.
We have a good match. Unbelievable boundary violations. Were they just chasing the Gila, trying to stay in range, and weren't watching where they were positioned?
It seemed like it. There was one other ship out there with them. I didn't catch who it was. It was about 100. That may have been what they were doing.
Yeah,
Seamus Orza is now taking an awful lot of damage, going straight through his shields, almost right into armor. Meanwhile, Herney's EOS is into armor, but that's where he's an armor tank, so he's not going to be too worried about that. First Inquisitor of Trouser Deagle, meanwhile, also into armor, and Seamus Orzos is going to say goodbye to this match.
This looks really bad for Pandemic Legion. Unless Shadow Cartel does something really wrong here, that Inquisitor is taking damage. Trouser Deagle, oh, and he just lost reps on him as well. Looks like he's going to drop. Yep, Logi down now for Shadow Cartel. And no damage so far getting to a new target on the PL side. It looks like that last Gila. Yeah, exactly. Danpill's going to be the next one, but it took a while for the drones to get over there. Everyone, of course, will be spread out as much as possible, so the drones have to waste a bunch of time moving from target to target. But he is taking damage now, and about half shields. A Worm taking damage as well, while Pandemic Legion tries to finish off that second Inquisitor on the Shadow Cartel side. And
Dankel's got to be careful. He's at 104. We've already seen two PL ships fly out of bounds. He's at 107, 108 right now, as well as that Worm of Ollie, 114, 118. He's almost out, and that should be a boundary violate here any second.
Worm
he managed to turn it around.
He's so close.
121. Holy cow, but he's dead anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And
That was awfully close.
in the meantime, Dankel had to make his turn as well. He got out to about 110, and as he turns around, of course, the drones have a much easier time catching up, applying air damage, geckos and stuff making their way out there now, and he should be going down pretty quickly here. He's in bad shape.
Hardy's EOS is almost into structure now, so we'll see if he goes down the same way. The Gila is already into structure, and looks like there is a damage control. The EOS is going to go on right at the same time as the Gila.
It's a good trade, but
it's a good trade, but PL needs to do better than just trade at this point. They are behind.
absolutely. And for the second time in 2 matches, PL looking like they might be headed for the losers bracket here.
It's really incredible for a team that's, defending champion that be in this position. But here we go. Ishtar for Paquito on the Shadow Cartel team taking significant damage. Seems like drones are still chasing down Chiba, Mons, Vexor, Navy on the other side, though.
Yep, that's right. And a lot of those drones have caught up. He's starting to take quite a bit of damage. He should be shield tanked as well. You can see him burning as fast as possible. They're moving 2,400 or so, leaving those geckos behind for periods of time, but still taking tons of damage, about to go into armor. But they are going to maybe kill this Ishtar on the Shadow Cartel side before Cheap goes down. Maybe PL starting to trade favorably, but I don't know. They have so little left at this point.
Oh my goodness, that was rough. That Ishtar's down and Cheap's still up, but I don't know. He's into structure.
I don't know. PL kind of looks like they're turning this around. I mean, the Heretics and the 2 Celestises don't represent nearly as much threat at this point.
But that worm right into structure. One volley, it looked like took his entire armor bar down. Chiba just clinging, and he is down. He is down. This is an incredibly close match.
Super close.
Would be expected to just dominate this. I imagine the betting odds on this would have been ridiculous. Anyone who's put money on Shadow Cartel is just counting the money right now.
Oh, it's still so close. That worm hanging on, and of course he's important. That is every piece of their damage at this point is really important. Keeping those Vexors alive and keeping that worm alive are actually a really big deal. Damage going onto the Shadow Cartel Navy Vexor, the last one, King's Navy Vexor, he's going down pretty fast, and damage has all but stopped going the other way towards PL. It's starting to look like PL's in control somehow.
Yep, he's not in good shape there, and he's got drones. The drones are doing that kind of thing where they stop behind him, so he's got a reprieve for a second. But he's into structure now and not really outrunning any of these drones. He's got about 15 drones on him there.
Yeah.
The worm, meanwhile, just took a huge volley of damage.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where these heretics are at. There goes that Navy Vexor. Same time, worm goes down. But now you're looking at 4 pretty hefty DPS ships left on the PL side against basically just an Ishtar and support. I mean, it's all good support.